Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is time once again. We are back, are here. We are in Qatar for pre-season. It is good to be back, as always. In the fresh start of a season, hope all across the grid. Hope from every single team on the grid. There is hope from every single driver across this tier 3 as we get going next week. Nevertheless, just about to get underway. It will be a bit of a different format tonight just to get the feel for the grid. It will be a normal qualifying session here in Qatar, a 25% race following this session. And it will be a 25% reverse grid based on the results of this race at Imola. So I'm sure everybody will be enjoying the reversed grid at a track that is notoriously difficult to pass. Nevertheless, go ahead and we'll periodically be checking for any invites, requests. There you see I've got none at the moment. So the point of trying to get everybody in earlier was to kind of avoid this issue next week when it is finally go time. But nevertheless, it's going to be not as much race action more as it is driver highlight. It's going to be team highlight. We're going to be going over driver moves, team expectations. I think along the way we're going to be having a few of the team principals, sporting directors joining us as tonight's session goes along, kind of discussing the way that their teams might pan out here this season. Could they potentially see themselves at the top step? McLaren taking home the cup last season. Mercedes was very, very close to doing it. It came down to the final week, but this papaya managed to do it. And the man who's actually moved from Mercedes to McLaren is Zonad. Switching allegiances. It's the same power unit. That car is going to feel very much the same, sound the same, just a little bit different color. Zonad joining McLaren on a one-season deal. Across from Mercedes, where himself and Capex were a very, very good duo last season, but McLaren losing, I believe, both of their tier 3 drivers, if I'm remembering correctly. So Zonad, a free agent, not electing to re-up with Mercedes, has found himself with McLaren this season. So plenty to go over as this session goes along. We've got plenty of action currently out on the track. Just about every driver is out on the track at the moment. This circuit is going to be one that just poses a challenge, especially for those who don't quite have the setup right, but all important that you get it done. That's the big thing here. But nevertheless, go ahead and just go ahead and pull up some information here as I have to sneeze. 2 seconds. Magical stuff. It gets over 50 degrees and my internal sinuses absolutely fly off the wall. Nevertheless, it is going to be a rather exciting start to the season. Austria, a track that renowned for the amount of moves that you can make and moving well off the track. There is not out in that McLaren, his teammate Tuesday as well. I guess we'll go ahead and touch on McLaren while we're on it. But Tuesday, coming up from Tier 4, had a very, very good season in Tier 4. McLaren giving him that contract for Tier 3. Pigeon, the renowned Red Bull, as was in pole position momentarily. NASCAR Freak topping that. NASCAR Freak, a driver of ebbs and flows last season at Aston Martin. He's elected to stick around. He's got his teammate of Hix, who I believe he was previously with the Racing Bulls, if my memory serves me correctly. He now makes that move to the Aston Martin team. But NASCAR Freak is one of those who he will have a great performance. Then the next week, it might just fall apart for him. It's very, very hit or miss. He'll be looking for increased consistency this season. As we head into week 1 at Austria, a place where lap times are so short. And lap times are so short, the places to make a move are endless, almost. You can make the move into turn 3, make the move into turn 4. Some even will race into turn 5. Brave enough to make the moves into the turns 10 and 11 as you race down the hills of Spielberg, but we'll have to save that for next week when all of these laps actually mean something. Head to Spain the week after, the Circuit de Barcelona. That will be the big thing. There is an invite. I do believe we've got another driver on the way. We'll go ahead and get Santi in the session. I believe one of the Hasses is Santi. We'll go ahead and scroll through my 5 billion people that I have added on here. See if we can get him hooked up. There he is. Magical right at the top. Thank you very much for having a normal EA so I don't have to scramble through like 125 EA members now. It is to the excessive that I have at this moment. I do need to go through and unadd some of those. Our man that currently sits in 3rd place in this qualify is Mark in the Williams. Again, incredible performances last season, a little more consistent than I think NASCAR Freak was. The biggest thing for Mark was just making sure to make every race. I know sometimes things get in the way, but for Williams, running it back with Mark and Dylan this season. Dylan making the move from McLaren to Williams in the middle of last season. Those two drivers can certainly make an impact on the grid. I think Williams, new team boss and Shiesty, who I believe is going to be joining us later tonight. He will be joining, I believe, between the sessions is what he told me. So expect to hear some Williams news, some expectations, some stories from not just in Tier 3, but in Tiers 4, 2, and 1 as well. As you see him there getting carted into the pit lane. Go ahead and just jump on board with Hix. And making that move to the Aston Martin team. The Aston Martin's very underrated as a team, I think, headed into this season. They're going to be ones to watch. They make the impact that they know they have. Do they have the consistency? Same as NASCAR. It's going to be the consistency of this Mercedes-powered Aston Martin that really brings them into prominence this season. Can they keep the car on the track? Can they get both cars into the points consistently? That will be the key here, not just this evening, but over the course of our 10-race season on the horizon starting next week. But we're going through the schedule a little bit. The first 3 rounds, absolutely phenomenal. It's Barcelona, which is always a fan favorite. It's a difficult track to race on, but plenty of moves can be made all over the track with the 2 DRS zones. You can really make the most of your opportunities in Barcelona, but the 3rd round is when it all really begins to kick off, because it is around the streets of Baku on the Caspian Sea. That is where the excitement begins. Baku, one of the longest laps on the calendar, and one of the most chaotic tracks on the calendar as well. So very happy that we get to see such an exciting race that Baku always is this season, as we are just preparing to wind down the F1 25 years. We await the DLC, if you want to call it that, of F1 26. I call it an addition, a patch, however you want to really put it. Nevertheless, same game, probably a $20, $30 DLC. Knowing EA, it'll probably be $40, but you know how it is. Nevertheless, will arrive just on time, but another one to keep an eye on this season, the reigning, defending Constructors Tier 3 champions, is this Ferrari. We're on board with one of them now. Frenny right here is going to be looking to defend his title in the Ferrari. His teammate as well in 7, both staying in Tier 3, both re-upping with Ferrari as well. So a big, big plus there for them. We've got plenty of pings somewhere. We'll go ahead and check on those now. What have I said wrong on stream? I probably made a mistake somewhere. Alright, budgetary things. Joy. Love me some number crunching. But, nevertheless, it does appear as though we have everybody that we need to in the session. 17 for a preseason race, not too bad, if I do say so myself. Let's see, who else do we have? Go ahead and take a look at the Kick Saubas. Arrow Knight headlighting this team. Almighty Ricky as well joining in. Mason, who I believe is going to join us also later on tonight, is really put in some work to this team. Remember, Sauber was really a team, you know, on the fringes all of last season, racing without drivers in some tiers, racing just kind of to exist on the grid at some points. But this pairing here in Tier 3 is definitely going to be their staple, I believe. It's Arrow Knight has definitely got potential to threaten some podiums this season, I do believe. He's really going to be able to put in some performances so long as, again, he can just keep the consistency. Speaking of consistency, his teammate for the season, Ricky, is gone ahead and shot up on pole by 0.3 of a second with just a few minutes remaining here in qualifying. 6.5 minutes to go, to be exact. But Ricky having come up, I believe Ricky was a Tier 4 driver last season, if my memory serves me correct. We can go ahead and actually check that now. Go ahead, I'm going to scroll here a little bit. Going to go ahead and just see where Ricky, if he was in the Tier 4. No, I'm just speaking absolute nonsense. We'll go ahead, we'll speak with Mason, I'm sure, later, and he can tell us all about his new man that he's got in this Kick Sauber, the Italian outfit, recruiting 2 brand new drivers here for this season. We'll go ahead and check in on Red Bull as well. We touched on him earlier with Pigeon, but C. Shermer as well has shot up into 2nd place. So we'll go ahead and just touch on Red Bull, who had their moments last season. Was it, you know, memorable? No, but Red Bull, always a team that you want to drive for. One of the most valued teams on the grid. One of the most successful teams in the league. Certainly fighting for a whole lot of trophies in some of the other tiers. Not as prominent in Tier 3 as they would have liked to have been. And Trimmer is going to want to put some correction to that, as is Pigeon. This duo this season likely to be threatening Ferrari for that Constructors title in Tier 3. You would have to imagine that if there were betting odds on the two, that it would just about be the two of them, unless we get some team that absolutely comes out of nowhere. And if a team is going to come out of nowhere, I would say maybe the Aston Martins, maybe the Kick Saubas as well. Could be extremely competitive. Don't count out the Mercedes either. I know we don't have Capex here this evening, who led a good portion of the Drivers' Championship last season before eventually losing out to Edge in the end. But Capex can always put in a phenomenal performance on his day. Nonetheless, 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. The only qualifying session we'll have this evening. If you're just now joining us, it will be 2 25% races 1 here in Qatar, and then we will have a little intermission while we head back into the lobby and catch a quick flight to the Italian hills. We'll head to Imola and make our way over there for our reverse grid. That will be a very fun watch. I think it could be rather chaotic considering Imola is an extremely difficult place to pass just to begin with, but so far, had a pull up little information sheet, and this also gives me an idea of who to yell at as well, which is what I will be needing to do for next week when we visit Austria. We'll have all the graphics all set up and everything ready to go. Nevertheless, going to be Arrow Knight, currently sat in 5th. He's managed to jump himself up, and boy, I tell you, Kick Salvas are looking hot. They're looking good, and I would imagine, again, if there's going to be a third team that's maybe a dark horse to take over from Frenny from 7 and challenge Shrimmer and Pigeon, it is going to be this team in green, because they, as a pair, look as though they are one of the strongest pairs on the grid. Nevertheless, with 2.5 minutes to go into the pit lane for Arrow Knight, that will likely spell the end of qualifying for him. 7 has promoted himself into 9th. I'm always waiting for him to pull into 7th place or finish in 7th, because I just think it's absolutely hilarious that a man whose name is 7 finishes in 7th place. But you do have to wonder if Frenny and 7 are maybe looking at results here this evening, not necessarily with concern, but knowing that they're not going to have an easy title defense. That Constructors title is certainly going to be fought over this season. It is not going to be anywhere near a runaway that they thought it might have been. They didn't really have it too easy last season. They had the lead for the majority of it. Nevertheless, they kind of controlled the Constructors Championship in the latter stages of the season. But I would imagine they're looking at some of the pace here around Qatar and are just keeping their eyes in the rear view mirrors. But nevertheless, it's going to be a heck of a season, especially not just in the Drivers' Championship, because with Edge leaving the grid, a man who was promoted into Tier 2 and probably the easiest promotion that I think the league has ever seen. It was Edge who took home the Drivers' Championship last season and really had his way with the rest of the grid. But that just means that this championship is wide open heading into this season. This is a little bit of well, there you go, a nice little slipstream for that Aston Martin as he heads into turn 1. I do believe it's the Aston Martin of NASCAR Freak that is on a flying lap. Gets a nice little tow from the Ferrari as let's see, Dylan in 10th, Cavito, the substitute in that Mercedes. Young, a full-time seat in Mercedes as well, down at 14th. We'll touch on Mercedes here in a little bit. Don't know if Dr. B is going to want to join. He had mentioned that he might want to go ahead and pop in. I do believe one of the Red Bulls, that's 7 retiring from the session. Shimmer is retiring from the session as well, as qualifying begins to come to a close here. Go ahead and just see NASCAR Freak has invalidated his lap. I do believe Frenny is down on his lap. We'll see what that comes out to. He can't improve. 7th position there for the Ferrari. Ricky, here we go. Here's Kick Salva, who's making up time. 2/10 is the time. He's got a Mercedes in his way. Hopefully he doesn't impede his lap. May have done just a little bit. That'll certainly be one that Ricky remembers going into this season. Sure, he will not be appreciating that, but nevertheless, I do believe he's going to be improving this lap by a substantial amount, unless he's lost too much time due to the traffic. Let's see what the Kick Sauber can do. Can he improve on his 121.4? He absolutely can. Make it a 121 flat there for the Kick Sauber. Pigeon into the pit lane. Will not be challenging that. He will start alongside Ricky unless Diego Zamora has anything to say about it. He does not. There you go. Just as I was alluding to, we might be seeing a resurgent Kick Sauber team here this evening. Let's see, we've got a couple invites to hand out. I don't know, fellas, if we're going to be able to get those off before the session flips. It's going to be close. Let's see here. If Ascension is listening, you do still need to add me. I do not have you on my list. Santi's got a brand new invite. Life is good there. Let's see. There we go. Into Santi. Their invite is sent. I do believe that was just him joining the session. Oh, there you go. That's the end of a qualifying session that I think might raise a few eyebrows, especially down at Ferrari, down at Red Bull. Kick Sauber will certainly be enjoying their performance here in preseason. Some say it is just preseason, but nevertheless, it's a great way to get your season off on the right foot. Get the confidence, know what your competition looks like for the rest of the season. It's not the longest season ever, it's still 10 weeks, but it's going to be 10 weeks that go ahead and are racing here around the circuit. See if this works. I haven't actually used this in the survey yet. They haven't enabled that, so we'll go ahead and ignore that for the time being. We'll go ahead. I'm going to try to get Deception in. Don't know if it's going to work, but we'll certainly give it the old college try. There's your invite, Mr. Deception. Go ahead. And Rooney. Yep. Maybe he'll make it in. Maybe not. I have absolutely no idea that will be the case. If it even lets him get on the grid. Normally it takes a little bit. Does it let him get into a car? Does it let him even put on a setup? Did it maybe just put him in a random car? We'll have to see. The timer going. Get things underway. Be slightly shorter given the fact that it's only a 25% race and there really isn't a need for any strenuous strategy decisions. Get this your way. Indeed we are, Mr. Reception. We are on the grid. Make sure he's not having any problems. And once that happens, we will gonna have to wait until the next session. Let's see. Go ahead. Wow, I cannot spell. Good lord. That was... Yes, we did. We did get Santi in. About underway. Here we go. 17 on the grid for this preseason race. How will things start out? Will we have chaos at the start? That will be the question. Ricky gets off the line well. Arrow Knight makes up a place. The Red Bull falling way, way back there. That's Pigeon with a poor start. And Ricky has the move done. already on pole position, has extended his lead. NASCAR Freak dropping like a rock. The Aston Martin not having the greatest of starts. Ferrari moving up places as well. Young in that Mercedes has made up positions as well. We're on board here with Aero Knight, who's just trying to keep touch with the Red Bull. There's plenty of moves being made at the back of the pack. You see the Aston Martin of NASCAR Freak down the inside. You see the other Mercedes making the move on Santi. The McLaren of Tuesday has been left adrift at the back of the field. Yellow flag in that part of the track. And so far, Ricky has already pulled a 1 second gap to Schemmer out front. That will be something not just to watch here tonight, but as this season carries on. 7 now trying to take his namesake. Can he get into 7th place over Diego Romero in that Racing Bull, running a good margin wide there. Looks like Hicks and the McLaren of Zonar going wheel to wheel into the final corner. Hard tire by the looks on for the McLaren. Will go ahead and get the tires up for you now. Zonar, the only driver on the hard compound tire in this race. You see there the McLaren of Tuesday into the pit lane. That will likely spell the end of his race. Aero Knight is going to have to deal with some pressure here from Mark behind. This soft compound tire is going to drop like a rock here in about 2 minutes or so, about 2 more laps until he really starts feeling the effects of the tire deg if he hasn't already. 2/10 is the gap between himself and Mark. Cavito has had a moment at the back along with NASCAR Freak and the Aston Martin by the looks. Santi falling significantly back of the grid, 1.5 seconds behind, but already starting to gain time back. But this is going to be, I think, a lot of what we see. We saw last season significant gaps form, especially early in races. I mean, we see it with the top 3 a little bit, but Aero Knight kind of providing the cork in the bottle here. This battle for 3rd, you would imagine, realistically heading all the way back to about 10th position. Ted is just hanging on. It was actually gained a little bit of time as well. So go ahead and attribute this battle all the way back to 13th, unless Hicks is going to lose touch with the leading pack. Does he have the DRS? That will be the question. I don't believe he does. He does indeed, actually. So he will be able to close in a little bit on that gap. Mark in the Williams has gotten the move done, but not quite, as Aero Knight's going to fight this one back. Does he run a little bit deep? Does the kick Salva just a little bit. They're going wheel to wheel through a corner. You don't typically see it. They bang wheels. Mark, a 3-second time penalty. He certainly will not be enjoying that, and I wonder if this could be something that we see throughout the length of the season. Mark having a nice dive to the inside of the kick Salva. That was adventurous at best. You see there, Aero Knight really now struggling in with those soft compound tires. Mark definitely the faster of these two at the moment. You see the grip that he has out of that corner as they race through the end of the middle sector. It's on the latest recipient of a 3-second time penalty. But nevertheless, it's a big season, I think, for Williams. A lot of changes. I mean, you'd think of anything that could have changed, probably has changed at Williams. They've changed leadership. Drivers have swapped just about all over the place. Really, the only steady is this Tier 3 lineup. And I think Sheisty's probably going to be happy with that. His man Mark in 4th position. He's got Dylan down in 13th as well. I believe Dylan was caught up in a little bit of traffic at the start of the race. Red Bull as well. They'll certainly take this result as things stand. And now that Mark has a little bit of clean air and fresher tires, you would imagine he can maybe just pull away from the pack a little bit, because Aero Knight is once again under pressure from a medium runner. You see that Ferrari almost pushing the Salva around the track, having to go the long way around as the Ferrari, and Aero Knight is not going to have any of it. Shows him the outside. Red Bull of Pigeon just getting a little interested in this battle as well, but Aero Knight for the time being staying ahead. Good defending from the Salva. Needing a good season, Aero Knight. He really does. again, it was such a tale of two seasons for the Kick Sauber last time out, as another 3-second time penalty handed out there. Plenty to talk about that I'm sure we will be getting into the rest of the night. This is the battle for 7th place, involving Seven and Young. And a good start, I think, for Ferrari as well, trying to retain their championship crown. They maybe didn't have the best qualifying here this evening, but they're certainly making out loads of positions in the race. Frenny and Aero Knight are continuing their battle, and that battle has subsequently ended with the Ferrari getting past the Kick Sauber. So the soft tire really starting now to taper off here on lap number 5 of 14 around this style track. The track that's really not meant for F1 cars, but its claim to fame is MotoGP, but never know what exactly you can race on any particular surface. Here goes Pigeon and Seven having a little bit of a battle. This could be a bit of a battle that we see again all season long. These two extremely similar in pace, extremely similar in experience, and they are certainly going to be wanting to bring home bulk of points for their teams. It looks like Santi's had a little bit of spin in the end of the middle sector. You see her down the right-hand side of the mini-map that he is just getting back going once more. And thus begs the question, this top 3 really is, dives into the pit lane there from Aero Knight and Pigeon. Maybe it was a do-what-he-do type of move, but nevertheless, the Ferraris now up into 4th and 5th. 7 right into that position. Young getting past Diego Romero. And it was a good move there. The Mercedes of Young is off to a good start. It was not the qualifying that he had wanted, but he's managed to just hang on to whatever's left of this soft compound tire. Get himself into 6th position. He'll look to make that switch onto the mediums here, likely sometime at the end of this lap, I would imagine. I don't think we're going to be seeing too many try to stretch out the soft tires for 6 laps, as we are just about at the halfway point of this session. Remember, it's a reverse grid later on tonight. And go ahead and try and do our best to make note of where everybody finishes. That will be the key. But nevertheless, 2 Ferraris in 4th and 5th. That's certainly going to be something to keep an eye on. The Williams of Mark has gotten himself a nice gap and into the pit. That's an interesting call here. I'm interested to see what tire goes on this Williams. They maybe pulled the trigger on the hard compound tire. Zonad is the only man on the grid on the hard tire, and yeah, it is the hard tire, so medium to hard for Mark. So putting the ability to push this entire session, could that maybe signal something to the rest of the grid that he is going to want to push and push and push at Williams through the season? Plenty more drivers into the pit lane. Frenny, Young, and Cavito. That could be a problem down at Mercedes. Young is just now back out onto the track. I believe Cavito was more than fine. They didn't double stack down at Mercedes. They are back on track once more. 13th and 15th for the German outfit. Once more, Diego is under pressure here from Hicks and Zonad. Zonad, the only man that started on the hard compound tire. Adventurous as he is with the strategies, McLaren will be looking to use that to their advantage this season. As Ricky into the pit lane. So there you go. From the lead, the Kick Sauber pits. The Red Bull from 2nd place pitting as well. Those soft tires doing 7 laps, getting the job done. And the medium tire now heading on both Ricky and Schemmer's cars. So, you know, lap number 8 is when the stops take place, and Santi, the only man left on the soft compound tires, he goes ahead and looks to rectify that into the pit lane. Goes the Haas Hicks coming out on the soft compound tires. Interesting decision there, looking to go with the reverse strategy, medium to soft for the Aston Martin. And we've got a move between Frenny and Pigeon. How many times this season will we see that move getting done between the Red Bull and the Ferrari? And it's a little bit of a queue taking place for this 8th position that Pigeon currently holds. Nevertheless, there's battle for what is currently 2nd place taking place as well. We'll keep our eye on that, but after the pit stops and whatnot, we would imagine that that battle will not be of too much of an interest until maybe later in the race. You would imagine Zona likely to pit here soon for the medium tire. Maybe even drag it out for the soft tire. We'll have to see how adventurous McLaren gets in his first race in the Papaya. Meanwhile, Mark and Arrow Knight are just about within a second. He was within a second. Is Ted, the new man in the Alpine, having a little look at Frenny, the Tier 4 driver, trying to maybe make his mark here in this preseason race, as he's got his eyes on the Constructors' Champion from last season. What a statement it would be to make a move and finish ahead of him here in preseason. Pigeon, fastest lap of the race. Fresh medium tires, clean air. He sets that 1:23.4. Plenty of drivers as the Racing Bull of Diego joins this battle. Freddy has to defend from Ted, but also Hicks as well. Hicks said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that." That's the experience of the Aston Martin showing there. Ted still getting a little bit acclimated to this grid. Freddy having to cover off that inside line. Hicks is absolutely flying on this fresh set of soft tires, but Freddy is going to be trying to keep the Aston Martin behind, making him pay for staying behind in the dirty air, having to work those soft tires so much harder. Hicks knowing that he really needs to get a move on. His teammate picking up a 3-second time penalty. Young and Ted are bumper to bumper. This is for 10th position, just one position behind the battle we were just watching. There's a battle for 4th taking place as well, as Zonad into the pit lane. So the man who was leading after a lap or two into the pits, he's likely to rejoin, I would imagine, right around Arrow Knight and 7. He'll be battling that out. Soft compound tire on that McLaren, so interesting to see where he filters out into this field. Let's go ahead and see where the McLaren filters back in. It's going to be after Pigeon. Will Frenny get out in front of him? He's going to come out right in the heat of this battle, and he's going to have a lot to do. Does he stay ahead of Ted, the Alpine, around the outside? Zonad maybe going to say that he got that penalty unfairly, but he's got a Racing Bull to contend with as well. He's just out in front of him. Those tires on the McLaren likely to fire up rather quickly and immediately putting pressure on the Alpine and coasting by the Alpine. Zonad up into 10th position. We'll go ahead, swap to this battle for 3rd. It was Arrow Knight who was closing momentarily, got to within 0.6 of a second, but that hard tire really now starting to come into its own for the Williams as he begins to just manage that gap a little bit. Battle for 8th is one of interest. Is Frenny clinging on to the DRS of Hicks that I don't think he's going to be able to recapture, and immediately he's going to be put under pressure by the new Mercedes. Young to the inside of the Ferrari. Move not quite there at the moment. You would imagine, using the power of DRS, how strong it is around this Qatar track, that he's going to be able to get the job done. Ready there. What kind of defense can he put up, not just for this position, wow, but for the Constructors' Championships? He gets a little bit clipped there by not just the McLaren, but the Mercedes as well. Losing 2 positions in the space of 1. I'm sure Dr. B somewhere is got his feet kicked up for this race, or he's probably racing in Tier 4 at the moment. He'll be enjoying the fact that his man just made a phenomenal move on the reigning Constructors Champion. But he's looking to make yet another move. Zonod is in his sights, but soft compound tire still making his... That's a huge mistake. Just as we were giving him all the praises, a huge mistake from Young, and he goes ahead and retires on track. So, yeah, we'll want to watch out for that going forward as his AI trundles along right on the racing line. Good Lord. That could have been very bad. Pulling over to the side there is the AI. But meanwhile, battle for third continues to rage on. The battle for ninth place has heated up once more as well. Go ahead and just keep our eyes actually on just a place above, because Zonod has the DRS on the Aston Martin in front, and with just a couple laps to go, penalties flying all over the place. Going to be very interesting to see who's just kept the car on track. That's going to be the big thing here. But nevertheless, with 2 laps to go, it's Ricky out front by almost 10 seconds. If this isn't a warning shot across the bow for the entirety of Tier 3, I don't know what is. Such a commanding lead at a track that is so difficult to gain a lead on. But such is the pace difference between Ricky and the rest of the field. Mark and Aero Knight battling things out for third place once more. The medium tires, they bang wheels. Here does Hiex and Zonot. Racing through the belly of this middle sector. The McLaren almost pushing the Aston Martin around this track. Remember, see on the left-hand side of your screen, it's 2 lap fresher tires that the McLaren has compared to the Aston Martin. Starting on the hards may have paid dividends here for the Englishman, as Dylan is also out of this session as well. I don't exactly know where that happened. Looks like it was somewhere in the middle sector, but here we go. McLaren, he'll have the DRS, he'll have the slipstream, he'll have the battery at his disposal. He gets to the inside, trying to break the slipstream. And the McLaren make the move, peels out to do so. To the inside goes the McLaren with the power of DRS, has the inside line, and has the move done on the exit of the corner. Zonod promoting himself into 7th position. Where else on track do we have some battles? This is still our closest one at the moment. He is having a little look up the inside, but nothing doing on that occasion. You would imagine the Aero Knight is likely to be biding his time here on the final couple of laps, using the DRS to maybe just make the pass on the final lap. That would be a dream scenario and a dream start to this season for the Kick Saubas. They would love a double podium during this race, but I don't think it's going to happen, because 7 currently without any penalties is the Ferrari, and that's going to be crucial throughout the entirety of the season. Who can keep the car on the track? Who can keep the car not just out of the wall, not just in one piece, but penaltyless is the name of the game. And I think Mark and Aero Knight are going to be losing out here. And just as I say that, Aero Knight is definitely going to be losing out. Up to 6 seconds now is the Kick Sauba. So still preseason, a little bit of a learning lesson there for the Sauba is what is needed. And I'm sure he's going to be taking that not just into our next race here this evening from Imola, as we've got a move from Diego. As 7 there, so that'll definitely ruffle a few things up. 3-second time penalty there for the Ferrari is really going to cause a little bit of a shakeup. I have pings flying. Can you please stop tagging me? Thank you very much. Nevertheless, we've got Diego, who's under attack now from Frenny. Frenny on the hard compound tires. So interesting to see the difference here as we're on the final lap of this race. It's been almost a pedestrian performance from Ricky. Has Kick Sauba maybe found their man? Has Kick Sauba maybe kick-fired their return to prominence? As Ricky comes home to win the first stage of the preseason. Schimmer finishing in second for Red Bull. A great result for them here this evening as Pigeon is still battling it out for 6th position. 7 catapulting up onto the podium. Pigeon finding himself into 5th place. Can Zonon have anything to say about that? Arrow Knight falling down to 6, so it could have been a double podium for the Saubas. Has been dismantled by the time penalties. Kevito keeping it on track and doing a very nice job indeed, finishing in 7th place. Go ahead and everything I can to reform this grid rather quickly. That's going to be the key here, I believe, is getting it done in a hurry. So we'll go ahead, we'll skip all of this. There you have it. Ricky with the win. We did have a few retirements from the race. Go ahead and just see what we can do. Gentlemen, if you are listening to the stream, if you are here in the stream, do not leave the session. Do not leave the session. Stay in. Do not leave the session. Stay in the session, please. Everyone, please stay in. It's already all set up. Do not leave. Please. All right. Nevertheless, in the next second or so, I will get rolling on reforming this grid for our second race of the evening in Imola. Got the photos of the grid. Should take me just a few moments. I know we had a few people leave, a few people say that they weren't going to be attending the second race. That's more than fine. I'll just have to go ahead and count them out, I guess. I'll figure that one out. All right. Let's do this rather quickly. You guys get to join in as I do this. Right, we need to go to weekend structure. We need to turn off qualifying. We're going to go to the grid editor, and we're going to go ahead. Tuesday said he was out. Yes, we're going to get Exception in, and that way, Exception, I'll put you at the back, unfortunately. I think that's probably the only fair place that I can put you. But nevertheless, go ahead and... Alright. Need Young at the front. Where is Young? Has he left us? He just done so. Right, on to the next one. Where is Dylan? Dylan to the front. Dylan will be on pole. Actually, I can go ahead and just use this, can't I? Previous position's not right. I'm using my pictures. Shut up, EA. Alright. NASCAR Freak will be second. Santi in third. Where did Santi go? Santi. Up he goes. Let's see. Here goes Ted firing up the grid. Hicks as well will be behind Ted. Let's see. Brenny will be behind Hicks. Perfect. Let's see. Diego be behind Brenny. Let's see here. Zona behind Diego. Evito behind Zonad. Have a great race from the Mercedes, by the way. Finishing in 7th, starting from 11th. Zonad also a good race from McLaren, starting in 15th. Finishing in 8th. Arrow Knight will be behind Kevito. Pigeon. Ooh, hang on. That's a bummer. Anyway, let's see. What was I doing? Pigeon behind Arrow Knight. That's done. Mark will be right there. let's see. Mark, then 7, then Shimmer, then where's Ricky? Where did Ricky go? Oh boy. There was always going to be one, wasn't there? Always going to be one. All right. Well, if he's not coming back, that answers that question. Exception will essentially take his place. So that confirms the grid. Life is good. Please, I swear to God, nobody leave. All right. Let's see here. Who wants to jump in? Yeah, Shicey wants to jump in. If Shicey wants to jump in, if he's listening to the stream, if the Mason likes of Solz wants to fire in here. Who is that? That is Mr. Shiesty. That is joined us. How are we this evening, Mr. Williams, team principal? Yeah, it is definitely nice to get the season back underway. We've got the grid all set up. Your boys, Mark and Dylan, they both had a little bit of adventures. Dylan maybe in the wrong way. Mark having himself a great race in Qatar just now. But we go ahead, travel to the Italian hills for Imola. But your team this season, I mean, you took over as team principal just a couple weeks ago, and it seems like really the only thing that stayed the same with Williams as a whole was this tier 3 parry. Is that was that planned, or was that just kind of how it ended up going? Yeah, and it seems like you took a few flyers, especially across the other 3 tiers. You took some shots on guys that have been around the league, but also a few guys that are brand new. You saw you signed some free agents as soon as they entered the league. What's kind of the thought process around that? Is it you said that the target was top 5? Does that kind of indicate that maybe it's a building year, or is this kind of maybe just a see who we can work with and move on to next season and really build off of this season?
Um, but I'm very excited. I'm very excited. I definitely am excited. I will say based off of how Abu Dhabi was this past season, I'm very excited for our tier 2 lineup with Jay and Jude.
Yeah, I mean, it seems as though you've got a lot of not question marks. I don't want to put it as question marks, but you've got a lot of guys who look quick on paper. But I think is this kind of and again, maybe I'm restating the question. Is this just a matter of trying to see who you can take into next season, and really build up this Williams team that has had a really rocky road the last couple of seasons? But now that you're in in the team principal position, this may be the point in which that changes.
Definitely is a point where it changes. I definitely think I would like to just be mainly my main point every single my main goal for every single race just across the board is just to score points. And if we score points, I call it as a win in my book. So The main point of this is just the main goal is just to be competitive as possible, but also have fun while doing it too, because it's also fun to drive the car.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just out of curiosity, was the special Gulf livery attracting you to Williams, or were you just happy to have a team?
Happy to have a team, but definitely I'm very excited. Hopefully these Vegas and Austin liveries come in soon.
Mm.
I'm super excited to rock those. The team is excited to rock those too. But that'll be all for me. I gotta head out. We're about to start our tier 4 race and head on in. But thanks, Skirata, for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely appreciate the insight into Williams. That's Shiesty Williams' team principal took over this past season. Mason, if you want to go ahead and jump in, if you want to go ahead and join. Hey, do you have the roles? No, you don't. Go ahead and join any voice chat, and I can go ahead and pull you in. So, literally, just join wherever your heart desires. I will go ahead and just yank you into the call. Actually, Mason's right there. Go ahead and that happen real quick. Oh, we'll get the race start. I completely forgot there's no qualifying, so we'll get this underway. Here we go here from Imola. Medium tires for most of the grid. See there, Dylan and NASCAR for you. Oh, good lord, what is happening in the background there? Plenty of chaos into turn 1 as we expected. Dylan's come away unscathed. Ted has made up positions as well. Cavito didn't make it off the grid, so a good start for Mercedes there. We've got cars in the gravel. We've got cars disqualified. NASCAR Freak has fallen all the way from second into last place. Asception has made up plenty of places after missing the original session. Frenny also is battling this one out with Santi, who shoves him wide and comes back and collects himself. Lucky to not take out the Ferrari in the process. Still ghosting is the Haas as they head up the hill and into the chicane. That was about as chaotic of a restart as I think we're going to see. Oh, there's a huge collision there. That is the Kick Sauber of Aero Knight plowing into Zonod, just losing it on the chicane right there. It was chaos at the start of the race, and I think that's a great opportunity to move get Mason in our call. Mason, how are we doing? We've just seen one of your drivers, Aero Knight, who just put on a heck of a performance in Qatar, absolutely torpedo the McLaren of Zonod heading into the chicane.
Oh, what happened, bro? What happened there? What happened?
It looked like Aero Knight just missed his braking point. Zonod was kind of an innocent bystander as we've got more spins taking place here in the middle sector. Out of the hairpin as Marks is actually fastest on track at the moment in the Williams. So we just got done talking to Shiesty as he elects to stay with this Tier 3 pairing. And they are paying dividends so far. Dylan, courtesy of the reverse grid, leading by about 4 seconds. Mark making up places as well. But Mason, your man earlier, Ricky, winning in Qatar by about 10 seconds. So it was a hands-down phenomenal performance from not just him, but Aero Knight as well. We spoke a little bit earlier in the stream about just the consistency woes that Aero Knight has been plagued with at times. But this duo this season really does look like they've got the potential, if they can keep it together, to challenge for that Constructors title here in Tier 3.
They definitely do, brother. Like when looking for drivers, I was looking for guys that were just gonna show up every week, and those two boys, they hit me up. They're like, "Hey, man, we're gonna show up every week. We're gonna compete for a championship, and we're gonna do our best." So I appreciate those boys for doing that. They showed up in the preseason testing, so looks like they're gonna be committed to trying to give us a championship over here in Sauber. So it's gonna be a fun season.
And tell me about the rest of Sauber as well, because so many changes taking place across all 4 tiers for your team that you had control of last season. It really just didn't go to plan. There were plenty of times where Sauber just not represented on the grid at all. That seems to have been alleviated. What what's maybe the difference this season as opposed to last season with maybe that issue and just kind of overcoming it and having the optimism into this season?
I think for me, it was just trying to find guys that were going to be reliable and showing up every week to the races. Because as we saw, Sauber was at the bottom of the Intrepid Cup last season, so we're not looking to replicate that at all by any means. We're looking to be up in the front running, possibly in that top 5 range of all these teams. Because we have the talent to do so. As you saw in Tier 3, those guys are almighty fast. We'll see what happens in Tier 2 and what we can pull out for Tier 1, but. So far, looking at the team, man, Tier 3, they look pretty strong.
Arrow Knight is currently in 8th position. He's trailing the leading pack ahead of him. Really, it's every car in contention for 3rd place at the moment. But the man who's really had a good start to this race, Deception, joining the session late, having to start at the back, staying out of the chaos in turn 1 and the entirety of lap 1 almost, has gotten himself up into 3rd place. So the V-Carbs this season have gotten off to a decent start. Diego has had maybe a little bit of a rough time here at Imola, but had a great Qatar. But tell us a little bit about Ricky, because it's not often that we see a guy come into a tier and really gap the field like he did. I mean, we saw it a little bit with Edge last season. But that wasn't really until about the halfway point that really started to take hold. But tell us a little bit about Ricky, if you know anything of him before joining Sauber, and kind of what your expectations are of him this season to potentially lead your Tier 3 lineup.
So coming into the season, honestly, man, Ricky was just another name on the sign-up sheet. You know what I'm saying? So I was just looking for a driver that was quick and consistent, and looking for somebody that is going to show up for, like I said, the duration of the season. So that was Ricky, and I really looked at his times, and he's a quick driver. So we definitely want to take advantage of that over here in Sauber. So he wanted to sign with the green, and the rest is history from there. But my expectations for Ricky, man, no matter if he gets the green flag to race in Tier 3, or if the admins deem that he is too quick for that tier, then we're gonna shift game plans, and we're gonna still see where Ricky lines up pace wise, and we're gonna put him in that correct tier, and Ricky's gonna race. So Ricky already told me that whatever the admins decide is up to them, and he'll race for me wherever they put him. So should be exciting to wherever he ends up.
Yeah, always nice to have a team player, but he demonstrated a boatload of pace compared to the rest of the grid. But yeah, as we've seen before, especially we'll go ahead and use Edge as the example from last season. We've seen where those guys can be mortal. Maybe they don't have their best track on the weekend, their best performance. But speak to me about Arrow Knight a little bit, because last season it was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't for Arrow Knight. It was one moment would be pole position, the next moment it's in the wall without a front wing, as he actually goes ahead and looks to make a move on the Racing Bull of Deception, the man who started so well. Down the inside goes Arrow Knight. That move not quite pulled off into the hairpin, waiting for another opportunity is the kick salva. But to Arrow Knight, I mean, as I was saying before, he's really kind of a hot and cold driver. Is there anything that you can do as a team principal to kind of alleviate that? Maybe make him a little more prepared for a session, or what's kind of the game plan there?
Game plan for Arrow Knight is, man, like I've seen him race before in IRL specifically, and I've seen the ice cold and the hot that you've been talking about, and it's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna like you said, just prepare him a little bit earlier for the race. Just try to get him in the right headspace, get him ready to race. Because as you know, the mental is a big thing for drivers in F1. So just putting him in the right headspace for the race, let him know that he's the fastest man on track as long as he keeps it on track. You know what I mean? So Arrow Knight is he's definitely a diamond in the rough. These team principals, I feel like they missed out a little bit with him. But if he keeps it consistent this season, I feel like he has a good chance. So it should be exciting.
Well, we're on board with the battle for the lead at the moment. Frenny getting the move done into the hairpin. Almost, he does send himself into the wall, having to reverse out onto the track is the Ferrari. Frenny just not quite able to get that move done for the lead. And, well, here we go. He started right at the very back, but Inception now just sees himself 4 seconds back of the lead of this race, but he's got the Aston Martin of Hicks for company for that position, and Hicks is really going to be pushing this Racing Bull into the chicane. Plenty of moves taking place behind them as well. Frenny having to defend from NASCAR Freak, who's having to defend from Mark and Arrow Knight. Pigeon as well getting involved in this conversation. Shimmer, the two Red Bulls slowly making their way up the field, courtesy of the reverse grid start. Mark actually without a little bit of that front wing, so Strickland Williams currently sitting in 6th position. Dylan into the pit lane, as is Hicks, as is your man Arrow Knight. What's talk me through some of the kind of pre-week prep that you're looking to go through down at Sauber now that you've really got a full hold of this team. You've got drivers for each tier. There's no more holes in the team. Is this really a season that you can go for it? Shiesty was talking before. Williams' goal is a top 5 this season. Where do you see Kick Sauber maybe finishing this time out?
Well, with the stack of drivers that we have for this season, I'm hoping that the boys can definitely put some points on the board. So I'm definitely hoping, like, as well as Shiesty's expectations, Sauber's expectations are definitely going to be top 5 in the Intrepid Cup. So just preparing the boys every week, giving them possible setups that they can run, giving them the race strategy that's optimal for that track is going to be probably key in taking most of these tracks and putting the best result that we can. So I just think that the prep going into the week is going to be, it's not going to be as intense as most programs, but it's going to be enough to get these guys in the right headspace, ready to race and ready to win. So I'm just ready for these boys to get on track for Austria and see what these boys can do in the first quali session.
You mentioned that top 5 finish. Do you see this as, obviously this is clearly a rebuilding year for you, but do you see this as maybe take a flyer on a few guys like Ricky, see where he ends up? Does he stay in Tier 3? Does he get moved to Tier 2? And really see who you can carry into next season, because I think next season is going to be one of the most competitive that we see. It's going to be new cars, new tire models, new ways to pass around the track. Remember, we do away with the drag reduction system after this season. So for you, is this kind of a analyze who we have in the team and plug the holes where we can?
For me,
or
yeah,
are you looking to really make that push?
Like you mentioned, Skirata, like you said, that this year's going to be a real big rebuild year for Sauber. Whenever the new regulations drop, as you know, we are going to be changing over to Audi and having our own engine room for the season. So it's going to be a little bit of a different with the regulation change and the new car, but confident before these regulation changes that we can hopefully get it done, show that we can compete for next season when those regulation changes do go into effect. So we're definitely going to show the rest of the field that we're competitive and that we're going to be here for season 7.
Well, there you have it. We're on lap number 10 of 16. Into the pit lane goes NASCAR Freak and Shimmer, the Aston Martin and Red Bull. A fresh set of tires for the Aston Martin as well as the Red Bull. Zonon picking up a 3-second time penalty. An Inception from the back of the field, now leading this race. Still yet to pit the Racing Bull, but built himself a nice gap to contend for a podium in this race. Mason, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for jumping
so much, Skirata. I appreciate it.
Giving us a little bit of insight into Sauber's progression this season. We have lost Ted from this session as well. 4 drivers now out of this race. We've got 11 remaining, as the 2 Ferraris have yet to pit in this contest. It's going to be one to watch for the Scuderia as they sit 2nd and 3rd. That gap is about 6 seconds between the reigning champions as they race towards this final 2 corners. Option now, when will the race leader pit? And right on cue he does, into the pit lane, and hasn't really nailed the pit entrance. 10-second time penalty that's going to be one that I think catches a lot of drivers out this season. That pit assist no longer allocated to the drivers. They do not have the ability to rely on that anymore. Exception, the 10-second time penalty, all that work he did to get himself right into podium contention, thrown right out the window here on lap number 11 as the pit stop onto the soft tires. Not quite going to plan for the Racing Bull. Meanwhile, Aero Knight is reassumed a top 4 position as Zonad looks to close in on him. Exception is going to be quickly joining this battle as well. Go ahead and see what else we can do here. Knight and Zonad Deception joining this fight for 4th position. There's a cog in the wheel in 7th position as well. NASCAR Freak Pigeon, Shimmer, the 2 Red Bulls, along with Frenny and Mark, battling things out for 7th position. It is going to be interesting to just see. This is a battle for 7th that we have already seen multiple times as 7 into the pit lane for Ferrari, so both of their drivers now into the pits. Fresh tires for both of them. Everybody has made their mandatory stop. Just like that. Where will 7 rejoin the track? Can he get out ahead of NASCAR Freak? I don't think he's going to be able to. He is going to be way down the back of the pack as wheel to wheel goes his teammate and the Red Bull. He's got the move done, does Frenny. Pigeon now is going to be the next man in his sights. Soft tires for both Ferraris, likely to put them in contention for a top 5 finish here if they can get a move on, but that's not going to help. Frenny into the gravel off the track, and surely now he is going to be just content with 9th place if he can defend from the Williams of Mark behind. Donut as well is just having to defend from Exception. He knows he's got that 10-second time penalty, does the Racing Bull, but he's still going to try to make the move anyway. It would feel great heading into the season if Exception can get this move done, going almost last to the podium. It is pretty much last to the podium as Aero Knight, a 3-second time penalty there. That's not going to help his exploits here on lap number 13. Deception with the power of DRS gets by the McLaren with ease heading into the corner. We've got a swap down at Red Bull. Is it going to be 2 positions there for Pigeon? I believe he's defending from Frenny. That Ferrari is just on the heels. The soft compound tire really coming alive here. They're going 3 wide almost into the chicane. That's not a place you want to be doing that. The Red Bulls fighting this one out here. Mark down the inside of Shimmer into the hairpin. Just backing out of that move at the 11th hour is the Williams. Meanwhile, back for 5th position, Aero Knight defending from NASCAR Freak. He's got 2 lap older tires, does the Kick Sauber. Can the Aston Martin take advantage of that? They are going to be battling this one out, I'm sure, for the next 3 laps. The Ferrari, the 2 Red Bulls, the Williams as well, battling this one out for 7th position. We'll go ahead and just take a look through the grid. This battle for 3rd place as well as the Red Bull trying to find a way through. Pigeon is trying to get that move done for 7th place, but he's going to have to wait for the DRS zone as his rear wing can open and he can gain speed and time on the Ferrari in front of him. NASCAR Freak and Aero Knight have swapped positions as well. The Aston Martin into 5th position. Exception is just seeing the McLaren of Zonad gain slightly more time in his rearview mirrors, and you wonder if that soft tire is falling off maybe just a bit faster than the Racing Bull would like. NASCAR Freak as well getting involved in this conversation, dragging Aero Knight along, who is ever so slightly falling back from the rest of the pack. But NASCAR Freak, well, there you go. 3-second time penalty to the Aston Martin as Sonad is going to be into the gravel by the looks of things. So immediate pressure being put on now from the Aston Martin, and through goes NASCAR Freak up into 4th position. Even with all of the penalties through this section of the grid, they are still battling things out for the places on track. Track position, very, very important, as NASCAR Freak does set the fastest lap of the race. Go ahead and just check on a few more things. It looks like Zonad again picking up another 3-second time penalty. Not what he wanted to see here this evening. Again, as we spoke of earlier, Aero Knight, such a hot and cold driver. Sometimes it's going good, sometimes it's going bad, and sometimes that just changes lap to lap for him. He'll be wanting to clean that up for his team principal as the season goes along. Frenny is maybe suffering from a bit of the same fatigue that Asception is up in 3rd place. These soft tires maybe don't have the juice in them that they once did. Fresh out of the tire blankets, heading into the chicane, but Pigeons ran wide. That will open the door for the Williams of Mark, and will his teammate be interested in that position as well? Shimmer down, maybe looking at a move, electing not to make the move that time on his teammate. Of course, it goes for all the teams. It's going to be curious how many of them are willing to work with each other, how many of them are going to be racing each other as this season goes along. Who will be friendly? Who will say, I am the lead driver in this team, I will have the one with the place. Going on now, really having to defend from Aero Knight, the McLaren, and the Kick Sauber racing through the chicane as they come into the hairpin. And up the hill they travel once more as Aero Knight just losing a bit of the back end, going to come out right in front of the battle for 7th position. Their wheel-to-wheel is the Ferrari and the Williams, but they're going to come right up on the kick side with the Ferrari running wide, banging wheels with the Williams. And the Red Bull applying the pressure now. Such a difficult place to overtake. I don't think the overtake was on there. It's cost him a position. Pigeon, Shermer as well, losing time because of his teammate Zonad getting past NASCAR Freak, who's had a little bit of a moment all on his own and has filtered back into this pack for 5th position. They are wheel to wheel heading down the hill into the 2 left-handers here at the end of this race. Hicks has won this shortened session. Dylan coming in 2nd, Asception in 3rd place. How far will he drop with that 10-second time penalty? There you have it. Hicks, courtesy of just keeping it on the track, ahead and wins here in Imola. So that is preseason done and dusted. That is all she wrote. And I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of those battles, especially between the Ferraris and the Red Bulls. The Aston Martins as well getting involved there. The Kick Saubas looking speedy as well. But there's your final grid. Dylan still with that 3-second time penalty, finishing on the podium. Shermer rocketing all the way up, courtesy of keeping the car on the track. That's sometimes all you need to do. Williams, a great result to their preseason, getting the job done here. 2nd and 4th is a great drive for them here this evening. Red Bull even battling at the back for so long. They didn't have any of the penalties, and they finish on the podium with Shermer. Pigeon as well, finishing in 6th position. Asception, it was a heck of a drive until that 10-second time penalty undid his race. He sees himself finishing in 7th position. Nevertheless, that will do it for preseason. We have Austria next week. It should be a very, very fun time, as Seven has put it in the chat. That's why we do testing, to see who will be the torpedoes on the grid this season, but I think everybody has a taste of how competitive this Tier 3 is going to be this season. Nevertheless, until Austria in the same time, same place next week, that is all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and we will see you at Spielberg in the Austrian hills. Goodbye.